Abortion grief is like a backpack full of rocks. At first, you try to ignore the weight, or you convince yourself you can handle it. As time passes, the weight of painful emotions and heartbreak drag you down, making everything in life harder. Healing after abortion begins when you start unpacking grief, those difficult emotions and losses, and acknowledge the weight you've been carrying. With every rock you remove, you get stronger and more hopeful. If you really want to heal after your abortions, you can't avoid, deny, or medicate your grief. In this video, I'll help you better understand why that's true and why grief is complicated after abortion. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you some next steps. Let's start with normal grief. It's what you're probably familiar with, what you experience when you recover from a loss. If you've lost a parent, a grandparent, a favorite uncle, or a good friend, you still function in daily life. It's difficult, and you may get emotional and tired. You'll cry and maybe have trouble sleeping because it's normal to be sad, to miss someone important to you after they're gone. Normal grief, it tends to lessen over time as you adjust to the loss and move on with your life without your loved one. Abortion grief is often referred to as a delayed grief. If you're in the midst of the pressures of an unplanned, medically complex pregnancy, it can just feel overwhelming, the drama just suffocating. And so after abortion, women often feel relieved at first, but they've still been traumatized. Later on, could be years later, you might be surprised when waves of sadness and regret take over. You can be triggered by watching a pregnant woman attending someone's baby shower, problems with infertility, or watching a political ad on TV. Delayed grief can come out of nowhere, and it can be confusing. Some people often struggle after abortion with what's called ambiguous grief. For many of us, we have a hard time connecting and acknowledging our grief after abortion because we were told it wasn't really a baby, or the baby wouldn't have survived or had a good quality of life. So we don't let ourselves think about it as a baby, or we think that we made the best choice. In this type of grief, it's hard to be in touch with our feelings, and we may even deny that we're grieving. For me, I was numb for a long time to the grief that was there, just hidden beneath the layers. Our behavior may still show signs that we're grieving, like being irritable, having difficulty concentrating, or enduring headaches, constant tiredness, and fatigue. People close to us may wonder, what's wrong with you? We don't see it, and we can't explain it. I thought, well, I'm just high-strung, a perfectionist, easy to anger. That's just the way I am. Hiding or denying that I was grieving protected me in the short run, but it blocked my ability to move through it, to heal and live the life that I know Jesus wants for me. This is what makes abortion grief complicated grief, because without getting the help and support we need from people who understand and share the experience of abortion, we can stay stuck in sorrow, not knowing how to get past it, and if we ever will. Another reason grief after abortion is complicated is that it's what Teresa Burke calls forbidden grief. You know, I kept my abortions secret for so long, and so my losses weren't known, acknowledged, or understood. I didn't receive any cards or flowers. Of course, there was no funeral. I couldn't talk to the fathers of the baby, and I just felt so isolated, so alone. I believed that I didn't deserve to grieve. After all, it was my decision to have those abortions. So I minimized my grief. I numbed it. I just didn't think I had a right to grieve. I want to speak to women who may share some of the same painful circumstances as I have. You may not know that half the women in the United States who have abortions have more than one, and that results in what's called compounded grief. It's hard for me to look back, even now, to understand how I could have chosen abortion 3 times. And it's hard to break free from that self-defeating and self-destructive cycle that comes with repeat or multiple abortions. Each abortion took me to a darker place where I felt more and more overwhelmed, humiliated, and afraid to face myself and my losses. Part of my grieving was to understand this concept of trauma reenactment and to grieve how my life had gotten so out of control and how my dreams were lost. I also want to talk to women like me who don't have living children. In other words, the only children I have, I've lost to abortion. I was in my 60s when I began to experience secondary grief. And that's grief that goes beyond the loss of my own children. As I would listen to my friends talk about their children getting married and bringing in daughters and sons-in-law and their extended family, I realized that I lost more than my own children. I lost the families that they would produce over time. I lost my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. More and more layers of grief that I had to deal with. And that brings me to sharing some thoughts about getting through grief after abortion and all the different layers, because we heal in layers. God gave us painful emotions, not to hurt us, but to guide us. Emotions are like warning lights on a dashboard. And the emotions that come with grief, like sadness, anger, guilt, and anxiety, signal that something in our heart needs attention, needs to be healed. Grief helps us process loss, to grow in compassion, and turn to God for comfort and strength. There's no one way to feel after abortion, and each person's experience of grief is unique. You may or may not have experienced these different kinds of emotions that I've described. But if you do, I encourage you to get support from people who understand and care. I've put contacts in the description for abortion healing groups. I've made notes of some books and music that I found really helpful. And if you're a Christian or want to know more about how following Jesus will change your life, here's a video that tells you more about my healing journey. Healing after abortion is painful, and it is possible. You're not alone.